We are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one about Ahsoka, Murders in the Building. I am one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso and my coach Beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well. We got a new intro there, and I was waiting for it to screw me up, and as per usual, just me thinking about it screwed me up. So very very good intro though. Thanks, Chris. I want to say thanks, Chris, for doing that, and hope everybody uh, enjoyed that nice new intro. Chris put a lot of work into it. You should have heard about all the time he was putting into that nice intro.
It's fun, so I'm happy. But for those who are watching, if you could let us know when it started, because I'm
Mm,
trying to fix that. Did it start at the beginning of the countdown, or where was
mm.
it? Just
Yes, that
because
that
that's another
that
thing
go
for me to drive myself crazy about.
that go live button's real tricky mother, that thing.
It is, and I've noticed some people when they tap in broadcast, it's like instant.
Right.
So it's like, well, what do we do? What are we doing differently? What's going on here? Because that's why our outro lasts as long as it does, just to make sure that it covers it.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're not just ending the show on our faces.
Right. Not even our, but like our confused faces, like, oh, I thought it was over.
Definitely our confused faces. I would agree with that.
That's what would happen. So yeah, if anybody could let us know what you saw first there, that'd be swell.
Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Just search Gathering of the Geeks, and you will find us. What's up to Aaron, Phil, Eric, Grabs on this fine Sunday evening? Hope everybody had a good week, a good couple weeks. I don't think we did a show last week.
We did not.
We did not. We're on our bi-weekly schedule. It seems to be rolling along fairly well.
Not bad. It works.
Chris, what's that?
It works.
Yeah, it did. Chris, you and I talked about the Beatles a little bit the other day. Did you watch the documentary Get Back that's on Disney?
I didn't know there was one. Or
Oh,
if I did, I forgot. I don't really do well with documentaries.
it's the 3-part documentary that was like directed and created by Peter Jackson
Oh,
over the last couple of years. Kind of puts together all the footage that they had during the recording of Abbey Road and Get Back.
hmm.
Anyway, so I'm on a weird little Beatles kick. Not that it ever really ends for me because I'm a big fan, but I was unaware that you were also a big fan, and I thought that I don't know why, were someone who didn't like the Beatles as much and thought
Hmm.
they were overrated. I think you got blended into the Carusos a little bit.
I may have, because I
Yeah,
think that's Mr. C's opinion.
yeah, that's Mr. C's kind of thing. So, yeah, and I was thinking about this earlier about the Beatles, about how like they're two different bands. Like it's the early stuff,
Mhm.
the early like Love Me Do, and then eventually it changes to like Sergeant Pepper's and Come Together. Do you have a favorite Beatles era? Do you like the early stuff? Do you like the older, more experimental stuff?
I like it all. I think I
Mm.
like it all. I'm not as fond of stuff like Come Together, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't hate the song. I think it's fine,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they just have better songs. I think Come
Mm-hmm.
Together itself is just, oh, people like the beat of it, which is fine. I do
Mm-hmm.
too. But I think their other songs speak more in a way.
Mm.
Like, is it In My Life? Is that what I always forget the name of this song. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
All in
Well,
My
when they have so many songs, like they release 2 albums a year for 10 years, like
Right. Their
there's a lot of
discography
songs.
is amazing.
Yeah.
But stuff like Yesterday, Love Me Do is fun. Help
Mm-hmm.
is actually probably my favorite song by them. I
Mm-hmm.
love Help. I also love any cover version of Help.
Mm.
It's kind of a thing for me. But yeah, I like it all pretty much.
Yeah, I was listening to Help the record today, actually, or the album, and it's really good. Like, obviously, that's a weird statement to say that the Beatles are really good, but
Today
Help
it feels like it is though.
well, yeah, that's the thing. Like when even when I was in school, in high school, it was very much like harder rock was in more, like Led
Mhm.
Zeppelin, Metallica, and the Beatles weren't really a thing for the cool kids. In the late or the early 2000s in high school, and now it's still kind of feels that way a little bit, that they're still not in for even our crowd, like the that same crowd in high school in the early 2000s. They still haven't got the appreciation for it, I guess. And it's interesting you're talking about that you like it all but you like their earlier music. Like I kind of base a little bit off the Beatles off of like what my mother and father listened to
Mm-hmm.
up on that kind of stuff, and they like the early stuff too. They like the more poppy, fun Beatles rather than the experimental, more rock and roll Beatles. And I would agree with you that I like all of it too, but I just can't get over like Sergeant Pepper and On. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love that stuff. I love Sergeant Pepper and On.
I think "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" is also like one of the best songs ever
Beautiful.
created.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Their discography or just any song, but I could just kind of listen to them all without having to skip. Even
Mm-hmm.
like Eleanor Rigby, that's a favorite of mine. That I think is from the later stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They and the way the tone changes, like you said, some of them are like happy pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are not.
Yeah.
Or even like "Hey Jude," which is about a depressing subject, is not
Mm-hmm.
depressing.
Yeah.
There's also that movie with I don't remember his name. I think it's Nicolas Cage's nephew. Reeve Carney, I think is his name.
Jason Schwartzman?
No, the other one. It's called Across the Universe. And that
the musical.
Like the Beatles musical. Yeah, that was really fun for me too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. And they had some decent covers in there too. There's also the I Am Sam soundtrack, which is all Beatles covers as well.
Oh,
like there's the Howie Day version of Help, which is pretty good.
Mm. Yeah, so I recommend like the documentary is called Get Back. It's pretty long, like it's 3 parts, but each part is 2.5 hours long. There's also a cool one on, I think it's on Hulu for you. It's just Paul McCartney and Rick Rubin,
Okay.
music producer, and it's just them going through like the entire, well, not the entire, but a good chunk of the discography and catalog. And it's just Paul kind of talking about the process and that kind of stuff. And that was the biggest thing for me. And what I kind of look for after watching the Beatles documentary is more insight into like how an album is made. Like it's such an interesting idea, like a how-to of a movie documentary, how a movie is made. I think a musical documentary is very interesting. How a mind can create a song, like in Get Back, like it's Paul sits down with a chair and a guitar and creates Get Back in 2 minutes, just by playing his guitar, and it just slowly molds into Get Back, and him and John talking and creating the lyrics for Get Back. It's just such an interesting idea how the songs were created, and I think it's a really interesting deep dive. So I highly recommend it. I'm glad it's on Phil's list as well. And if you're if you're a Beatles fan or a music fan in general, I would definitely check it. It's from a couple years ago, but I just rewatched it again recently. I just had an itch to watch it again.
I'll give it a shot. Usually I don't do documentaries very well. I get very sleepy in them. I don't know why. Even if it's a subject I like, I have a hard time getting through it. But I will check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Grab says, I didn't really listen to the Beatles until I was well into my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one. I think I've liked the Beatles for as long as I could remember actually liking music. Because I think as a young kid, you don't really pay attention to music. Like you hear it, but it's like, oh, that's this, and I like this.
Yeah, well, that was my thing when I was growing up. It's like, oh, I know that song, and then when I go home, like, oh, that's a Beatles song, and like, oh, that's a good song. Oh, it's a Beatles song. Like all that, like in the stupid Aerosmith did come together, and I thought that was the only version of the song for a long time.
Oh, really?
And it's like, yeah, like it's just one of those things. The internet is such a minuscule part of my high school life and early life. So it's like, oh, I guess that's it, and I'm glad it's not the only version of that song.
Yeah, I am too. I think Aaron's calling the people who are not fans uncultured swines, and
I hope so.
I don't know. I can't disagree. I cannot. Eric says, "Shame Come Together" isn't the unofficial song of the podcast. Since I'm in the middle, I'm knee deep in redoing.
There's still time.
I'll see what I can do. Has anyone watched Yesterday? I've yet to see the movie, but I want to. Aaron also has seen Yesterday. It's actually good. I have not seen Yesterday yet. Have you?
No, that's the one where the guy wakes up and he's the only one who knows the Beatles.
I had it on my list when it came out, but I just didn't get around to it. And then I kind of forgot about it until Aaron and Greg just mentioned it.
Sure.
Oh, is Eddie here? Hi, everyone. The one who calls Eddie is out seeing a movie tonight. He sends his loves. Okay.
Okay.
Didn't see that coming. Then he thought the Beatles did it. Then he thought the Beatles did a cover of "Come
Exactly.
Together." Yeah, that happens too. Like some songs, you don't realize it was actually theirs.
Yeah, 100%. And even ones you heard afterwards, like a George Harrison song, like, oh, the Beatles.
Yeah,
Oh no,
got my
that's just George
mindset on you.
Harrison.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, all the Traveling Wilbury stuff. It's like, oh, that's the Beatles. No, that's not. You know, so it's interesting.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, George Harrison got sued for plagiarizing a song. I'm pretty
No.
sure. I think the song was "He's So Fine" by the Chopins, and
Hmm.
his was that religious song he made. I forgot the name of it.
Hmm.
It's basically the same song. He just
Yeah.
switched. It's like Vanilla Ice's "Ice Ice Baby" and Queen and David Bowie. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yesterday is solid. I will have
There
to
you
add
go.
that to my list too.
Yeah, I will
I
add it.
appreciate Beatles content.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much where I'm at as well. All right, Chris. So, what'd you get up to the last couple of weeks? You watch anything? Did you read anything?
I watched a lot of stuff. I didn't read a lot of stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
have not. It's not like I'm on strike with reading. I just when I sit down and I have free time and free headspace, which is a thing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't always want to read something. But
Agree.
I read more of the Joker Baby thing, which gets more ridiculous by the issue. What's interesting to me about this particular issue, and I know I talk about this every time we talk, but I love it, so it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. Um, I've said this before. I don't think the writers understand Gotham City, really, or the characters,
Mm-hmm.
because the newest issue has the Joker in full Joker garb, makeup, suit, and all
Right.
at the like a child welfare office, and he's just hanging out. But the Joker is in a child welfare office amongst other people, and he's got like the baby pack on, where they you wear it over your shoulders and they sit on your chest, kind of.
Yeah.
There's a name for it. I forget what it is.
It doesn't matter.
It's like a kangaroo pouch thing for your child.
Little
Anyway,
Joey, yeah.
it's a hilarious visual. So that was fun. But yes, Aaron is correct. The highlight of my reading was Moon Knight, City of the Dead, book number 2. I am really Baby Harness. There we go. That's a simple one. I should have thought of
Yeah.
that.
Let's go with the Joey pouch.
Either way. But yeah, so this was the highlight of my reading the last 2 weeks, because it's Moon Knight, and I like when they do different things with Moon Knight. As every writer seems to do with the character.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when you go too wacky with him, it's like, well, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. This is not one of those cases. This is something really cool, because it takes him to that between life and death situation or realm, and we get to see him interact with all these characters and do all this different stuff. Plus, it's got Layla, and this particular issue has such a really cool reveal at the very end. Like, I wasn't even thinking about what they show you. I was like, that was the furthest thing from my mind. Oh. And so when it happens, like, it was just the coolest thing. And I just wish the art was better.
I was going to ask if the art's not any better. It's probably the same artist, but get used to it at all, or
I'm getting used to it, is what I would say. I'm getting used to it. It's not like it's burning my eyes or something. It's fine. Mm-hmm. It's just some things could use some work, but I'm not going to complain about it. It's really cool. I thought it was great, and I also agree with Aaron here. If you like the MCU show, read City of the Dead. I
yeah,
it feels it feels kind of like that, but not in like a force fed way. Like, did you like the MCU? You'll like this. It's just really cool. I don't know how it fits into the main book yet. I don't know if it even does. I'm assuming it has to, but.
Did you read the What If Moon Knight that was last week or the week before? Yeah, okay.
I will though. Did you read it?
No, I forgot to ask you about it. I just wasn't sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll get to it. Before I go, this is a cool comment I just wanted to highlight real quick. Grab's wife walked down the aisle to an instrumental version of Here Comes the Sun. That is beautiful.
Yep.
And then he followed up with this, so I take away what I just said. It was the grocery aisle. Damn it, Grabs.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, you had a moment there, and then you just... Anyway. So that was the highlight of my reading, other than a few stray issues here and there of random stuff, and more Night Terrors.
Night Terrors is all done now. Or is this the last week for it?
I think the last week is coming. I don't know yet. I have to go back and look. What'd you read?
Not much. Like you, kind of a couple issues here and there. Read the final issue of Dark Knights of Steel, number 12, and it made me realize that I missed issue number 11 and issue number 10. So I'll have to go back and check that back out again. I was hoping that the Tom King and Mitch Garrett story was back in the Batman Brave and the Bold, number 4, but it's not.
I thought that's done.
What?
I thought it was only in the 3. It's finished. Am I wrong?
Well, that upsets me if that's true.
I'm sorry.
My God, Chris, don't do that to me.
I could be wrong.
It didn't really end, though, did it? Did it?
I don't remember. I didn't read it, actually.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry.
Well, that'll upset me if it's over. That upsets me already.
If I had to guess, that was just a start for another book they're going to do later on.
Yeah, well, that would make more sense.
That kind of seems the way that they do things. Like, hey, we're going to do something, and then we're going to finish it in its own book. That's going to be, 12 volumes long for no reason.
Yeah, that's right. An entire year of your life.
Yeah. And our lives, too, as a creator.
Of course. So I didn't read that because the Garrett's books, or the King and Garrett's books wasn't in it. There was one other one that I mentioned to you that I read, and I forgot what it was. Oh, Penguin number 1 from Tom King. I mentioned to you that it's quite wordy. It's very wordy. But it's good if you're into like the underworld crime boss, like kind of what the Colin Farrell version of the Penguin is. Very much like not a walking, talking penguin, or like he's not a fat guy with a top hat and a monocle and that kind of stuff. He's very much like a criminal, mobster, gangster type guy. So I'll keep up on that if I can get past the words. Like you got to be in the right headspace sometimes to read comics, and you really have to be in the right headspace to read a wordy comic. So yeah,
I kind of like the monocle top hat penguin.
Yeah, that's totally fair, and like that's what's good about the One Bad Day. Penguin one, and even the Penguin that we saw. I guess we saw it pretty early on in the Zdarsky run before he was killed. Which I don't know if he was actually dead or not. Doesn't really matter.
Isn't this the same Penguin though?
I don't think so. I think this is a whole new shebang, like a whole new.
Oh, I was under the impression it's the same Penguin.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, you're right. It is. No, you're right.
Yeah, I want to get to that.
Yeah.
But after you said it was wordy, I was like, okay, that is for when I have a lot of time.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'll get to it, but it's not like high on my list. I do like the Penguin though. I think he's a great character, no matter what version you go with. The monocle and top hat, the more serious version. I just like the Penguin. I like Dan DeVito's Penguin also.
Yeah,
I do. I
think so that's pretty much it for what I read this week. Tenement number 3 or 4 was out, but I'm gonna wait for the trade on that one. I think that's pretty much it for my reads. Pretty slim over the last little while.
Is that a new edition of Layla Starr behind you?
Yeah, that's the Ultra Deluxe. What the fuck's it called?
Oh wait.
It doesn't say what it is.
Looks
but
cool.
It's the hardcover. Yeah, it's got the bigger pages too. Yeah, it's of course awesome. We love that one. So
yes, it's one of my favorites. Grab says started reading The Human Target by Tom King yesterday. Rereading the first 6. Haven't read the last 6. Forgot how much I enjoyed that book.
That happens.
That's a spy book, right?
No spy book. No.
Oh.
I can't remember whoever this Human Target guy is. He's dying, and he's trying to solve who murdered him. Like he's got, I think it's 12 days to live, and he's trying to solve his murder.
That is completely different from what I thought it was. Yeah. I thought it was like a James Bond kind of book.
Well, I guess it could be like a mystery, kind of like a very subtle James Bond, but there's no spy stuff. Not that I read in the first. I only read the first 4, I think. In that one.
I got you. Eric says every time Colin Farrell's Penguin is mentioned, I immediately think of that Oswald, Gordon, Bruce, and scene of the Batman. That's a good scene.
I love that scene so much.
It's one of the best scenes of the movie.
Yeah.
It's deluxe hardcover. Christopher Chance, is that the name of the character?
That's it. Yep.
Okay. It's a noir book. Yeah, not spies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I may not check that out. I'll see.
Yeah.
I like King though. That's kind of I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy a lot of what I've read from King. I think he's just one of the best writers today. Just very wordy.
Yeah, I thought I saw recently he's got a book coming out for Boom Studios.
For Boom
Can't
Studios.
find it now. Yeah, non-superhero one.
I think there's a GIF op going on in the comments. Cue the
Animal Pound. It's called
What's it called?
Animal Pound,
What is that?
based on George Orwell's novel of Animal Farm. This new series will give readers a modern take on the classic story. So instead of animals on a farm, it's animals in the pound.
Wouldn't that be a zoo?
I don't know.
I think that'd be a zoo.
They're in a pound.
I think it's a zoo. I don't know.
When animals grow tired of being caged, killed, and sold off, it's only a matter of time before they've had enough. After an uprising puts the animals in control of a pound, they quickly find themselves as comrades, united against everything that walks on two legs.
That sounds like the sweet tooth I was looking for.
But with this newfound power comes a sudden challenge: how best to lay groundwork for this new democracy.
That is the sweet tooth I was looking for.
The animals fight back.
Yes. I hope there's a kid like Gus who actually uses his antlers.
Stabbing people with his antlers.
That's the way it should be. You got antlers, kid. Use them.
All right. So what did you watch recently, Chris?
Well, I know we're going to talk about Ahsoka and Murders in the Building, so I watched both of those. But I also watched the usual, like Young Sheldon, What We Do in the Shadows, and a bunch of movies. One of the movies I want to talk about is No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence.
Mm.
Have you seen this?
No, I want to, though.
It is hilarious. I don't think we get rom-coms that often anymore. Like, they're far and few in between, I think. And this is like a throwback to those older type of rom-coms that were made for adults. And they're just, I don't want to say the word raunchy, but that's how people keep describing it.
That's what I thought. I thought it was a raunchy comedy, yeah.
I mean, I guess it is, but it's also hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of the Matthew McConaughey movie, Failure to Launch. It's really similar in a way. But Jennifer Lawrence, I don't normally think she's anything special.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's just another actress, and that's fine. But here, I thought she was really endearing, and I liked her a lot. Her performance is pretty good. And the kid, I say kid because I think he's supposed to be like 18 or 19 in the movie. I forgot. He's really fun too. And it's got Matthew Broderick as an older guy, which is something that kind of blew my mind. I didn't realize how old Matthew Broderick is.
Yeah, exactly. He's old now.
I did not realize that because I was watching a clip of Ferris Bueller recently.
Oh God, yeah.
So I went from that to seeing him in this, and it was just a
pretty bit of a difference.
Yeah, a little bit. But I like that a lot. I know it's streaming, but I think it's I think it'll be on Netflix at some point.
Yeah, I assume Netflix or Prime somewhere.
Something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it was just out in theaters in June, so
it was
taking this long.
Well, yeah, it made some money and stuff, but this summer's been so packed with movies. It didn't have a chance to breathe. But this is one I think more people should check out if you like rom-coms.
And with the raunchiness that you're saying it still has that the romantic aspect to it as well.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yes. Okay.
But it's interesting because it is a rom-com, but it's not really like a romantic thing. You have to watch to understand. But it's really fun. Phil says more Jennifer Lawrence comedies, please. No hard feelings is hilarious. I agree. I still can't believe Jennifer Lawrence filmed that scene. Yes. So I don't even know how to describe this. There's a scene with Jennifer Lawrence that is it's full frontal nudity. And it's not what you think. It's actually one of the funniest things in the movie. And it's not like a quick second either. It stays on screen. It was really unexpected.
Oh,
but it's very funny. I just don't watch it with children. That's all.
fair enough.
It's rated R for a reason.
It's interesting that Phil's saying more Jennifer Lawrence comedies. I don't even know what kind of actress Jennifer Lawrence is anymore. Like, started out hard drama,
Hmm.
and then comic book, and then a little bit of dramas, and now like a raunchy rom com. And like she hasn't. I think she was. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but she was pregnant recently, so maybe that's why I haven't seen her as much on screen, like in movies and everything. But it's like her trajectory of her movie career is quite vast and pretty diverse, I would say. But I'm not really sure what kind of actress she is. Like if she's a good actress anymore. Like
I was.
I don't. She's weird. She's an anomaly to me.
She's pretty versatile. I think she's
Yeah.
just not my favorite. Like I thought she was pretty good in Don't Look Up.
Hmm.
I don't hate her in the X-Men movies. The movie she did with Bradley Cooper, I thought was really good.
Yeah, the one with Christian Bale too, or the other one.
Not American Hustle. I didn't really like. I thought American Hustle had good performances, but the movie itself was not my favorite.
What the hell is that movie called? It's got Robert De Niro in it.
Yeah, it's a. What is that movie? Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, and they're dancing, and he's Bradley Cooper's a crazy person.
Silver
Silver
Linings
Linings Playbook. That's it, Phil. Thank you. Yeah, like she did those heavy ones. She did Winter's Bone when she was like super young, and she got nominated for an Oscar for that one. Yeah, maybe that's it, Grabs. Maybe she's just very selective now, and maybe she was like, scorned from her X-Men days. Yeah,
I would be too.
Anyway, she's an anomaly to me. Like how high her ceiling could be for her acting, but then she just does. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't need
a variety of stuff. I think.
Maybe I'm looking for one that doesn't need to be there.
I don't know. She's just in a variety of stuff, and it's kind of like take your pick with what you like.
Sure.
Wasn't she not? She was in the Hunger Games too. I think that's what she's known for.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think that's probably the big thing. But.
Yeah, so she's done like the big big studio films, the big genre films. So yeah.
That was really fun. I watched that.
Mm-hmm.
I checked out Asteroid City, which was okay. It's not bad.
Oh, I've been meaning to get to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big Wes Anderson fan because I haven't seen a lot of the films that he's made. I've seen a couple of them. Like Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really like the Bill Murray one, Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. That one was okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I also love the animated one, Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's fun.
Oh yeah.
This one was okay. I like the cast. I think the setting was cool. But I feel like some of his films, and I guess this is the way he does things, are just quirky to be quirky, which normally I appreciate. But I think when you've been doing it for so long, the shtick is gone.
Yeah, it's like your parody of yourself almost.
Like even Tim Burton has branched out into other stuff, for better or for worse. Like Big Fish is very different from Edward Scissorhands.
100%, yeah.
Whereas every Wes Anderson movie is basically the same thing.
Yep.
So that was okay. Stardust was a good time. So one thing about Stardust, Emmet and I had planned to do one of those Gallery of the Geeks at the movies things where we watched something we've never seen before. And this was like months ago. Emmet said, "Have you seen Stardust?" I said, "No, I haven't." So we had planned to record last week for this movie. And as soon as I put it on, I was like, I think I've seen this before. And then like halfway through, something happens and I was like, I have seen this before. And I ended up watching. I watched the whole thing again.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I remembered most of it as it was going on, and it's okay. It's it's fun. It is somehow very forgettable. Did you actually? Finish it?
No, I did not. I got maybe a quarter halfway through. So it's still kind of forgettable after the second time. Like you didn't find anything else into it, like that you had forgotten. You think?
No.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad film. I like it. I don't retain memory of any of it.
Interesting.
Like I didn't remember Henry Cavill was in it.
Yeah. Well, when we were looking at the cast, I'm surprised that still didn't jog your memory when we were looking at the cast, but apparently not.
No, I did not remember a thing about it till I turned it on. I was like, "Oh, this is familiar." Particularly the Michelle Pfeiffer witch scene. That the first one with them. That's when I was like, "Hey, wait a minute." Because I figured, okay, the thing with Charlie Cox and Henry Cavill at the beginning, okay, Maybe I saw this on TikTok or YouTube or Twitter.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, that makes
But then
sense.
the witch thing, that wouldn't have been like, hey, look at this clip of the witches. I know this movie. So,
Live and you learn.
Yeah. I also saw Blue Beetle. That was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. Surprising. I have to eat my own words. A lot of words.
Yeah, well, you can still like it and still think that it should have been not released in theaters and put on HBO Max.
Well, there's that, but I also thought it was like crap for him. So, I believe I called the trailer an MCU ripoff or a dollar store MCU film.
Yeah, dollar store I think was used. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so I like it. I'd watch it again. Going back to Jennifer Lawrence thing, Phil says, as someone who enjoyed most of, Wes Anderson. Someone enjoyed most of his films. I can say if you've seen one, you've seen them all. That's kind of the impression I got from Asteroid City, having seen the other ones that I have.
Well, it's so interesting, like how a lot of famous filmmakers who have a specific style have that one or two that change the mold. And Wes Anderson, like he's relatively young. What's he like? I can't remember when Bottle Rocket came out, maybe 20 years ago, his first film. He's still a young guy, so he still has that time to change, I guess. But you're right. Yeah. Every movie has the exact same kind of style. You can tell it's a Wes Anderson movie. But like you said, if you watch Big Fish, you automatically don't think, oh, Tim Burton. It's Tim Burton 100%.
Well, so another young director that I don't know if they're in the same category as Wes Anderson, but Todd Phillips. Todd Phillips also has a variety of stuff. You have the three Hangover movies. You've got War Dogs, which I love. Everybody seems to hate. And then Joker, which so
everyone loves, but you seem to hate.
We don't have time for that debate. No one has the patience to hear that.
Not today, Satan.
No, not today, Satan. I just think that he's not as varied as a director, but that doesn't make his films any less enjoyable. If you like it, that's cool.
Is there other, like, if Wes Anderson's one who has a style for every single one of his movies, is there another director that you can think of that has a style for every single one of their movies? Guy Ritchie is, 100%. That's a great one.
Tarantino. Yeah. I love, and Tarantino's probably one of my favorite directors, and
you can tell a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, you always can. Same with Guy Ritchie. Wes Anderson. Todd Phillips is the one you can't, I would say. Tim Burton used to be that way, not so much now. Although he seems to be getting back into it. Considering, we got Beetlejuice 2 coming. We had Wednesday. I think we're getting back in the groove of that one.
Yeah, he's found his groove again.
Right, how Tim Burton got his groove back. I think it was a failure of some other stuff. I didn't even see the one with the school. I forgot what it was called. Mrs. Pettigrew's School for Children or something like that.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that one.
It's on my list to get to eventually. At some point. We got Lauren with us.
Hi, Lauren.
I'll get to it eventually. Phil says we'll save that debate for the pod. I don't think you and Anthony want this.
I look forward to that one. That'll be a doozy.
Michael Bay, that's a great one, Aaron. Michael Bay. Every time you see a movie, you can tell it's Michael Bay. J.J. Abrams.
Lens flare.
Yeah. Those were my watches. What'd you watch?
Big thing that I started watching even just last night, because I forgot what I watched last week. I can't remember. Was Lioness on Paramount Plus. It's got Zoe Saldana in it.
Oh yeah.
Weird looking Nicole Kidman. Morgan Freeman, who I've yet to see yet. It's created by Taylor Sheridan, who created Yellowstone 1923, 1883. It's very good, very well made. It's about CIA operative or team who find someone in the military who then embed them with the wife of some leader in this case in the Middle East. And they get her to get close to the friend, thus getting close to the target, and thus killing that target. But it's much more than that. It's actually very much a good story about who this operative is, who's going into the I don't know, compounds and befriending these people. And it's very much about the lives of these people, where I thought it was much more one note just from seeing the trailers and kind of my own headspace. Yeah, it's good if you like Zero Black 30, if you saw that movie. If you're into CIA and FBI and military stuff and undercover stuff, which is very interesting. It's also a hard watch at a bunch of times. There's a lot of brutal scenes in it, torture, murder, rape, all that fun stuff. So it's hard to watch at times, but it's very well made. So I had forgotten about it for a while, but my uncle brought it up to me. But then, like a couple of weeks ago, Juan, a friend of ours, mentioned on Twitter that it was out, and I think it was Ian as well was included in the conversation. I'll pretty much watch anything that Taylor Sheridan creates or writes or directs or anything like that. So I'm glad that I finally got to that. And it's interesting seeing Zoe Saldana not in a superhero thing or Avatar. Because I'd have to think pretty hard or look at her IMDb page to see what else she's really done, because she's been entrenched with MCU and entrenched in Avatar for her entire life, it seems like.
I'm trying to think of other stuff, because when I watched,
I'd have to really think about it. I'm sure there's one or two that I could pull, but it's not something that comes top of mind right away.
Well, I'm thinking, like, when I watch Guardians, I don't see Zoe Saldana. To me, that's just Gamora.
And same thing with Avatar too. She's straight up.
Yeah. Well, I think the makeup helps too.
Sure.
But wasn't she in that Ben Affleck movie? Not Run All Night. What was it called? I'm very forgetful this evening.
I'm looking it up. That's why.
It's a Ben Affleck movie. He directed it. I thought it was terrible. Live the Night. Live by Night.
Oh, is she in that one?
I thought she was. Maybe she's not. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Zeddy says right. Season 2 has been good.
Yeah, she's in that one. Obviously, she was her in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek ones, but
I liked her in that.
Yeah, like she's done. Yeah, I like her too. She's very good in the show.
Zeddy said, "Live by Night." I kind of dug it. I'm sorry. It wasn't for me.
Oh,
it just wasn't for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I like Zoe Saldana. I wanted to watch it. I forgot it was out. That actually explains. I was wondering why you brought Nicole Kidman randomly last night.
I don't even know if I should bring this up, but like you guys in the States have AMC theaters where you get to see Nicole Kidman every time that you go see a movie. I haven't seen her in a very long time and on anything. And every time that she talks in the show, her mouth looks like it's CGI. She looks fake every time she speaks. I guess maybe the last thing I saw her was in Aquaman. I think that might be it.
I think the last thing I saw her in too.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I never really exactly. And like you guys see her every day, and now that I saw her, a couple episodes in a row, it's just it's tough. She's tough to look at, man.
It's on Paramount Plus. You said
Paramount Plus, yes.
Okay. I might check that out.
Yeah, check it out. I think they're 6 or 7 episodes in now. I watched 4 last night. That was a rough go just to get through a couple of 4 hard episodes, but it's good. Glad that I finally got around to it.
Cool.
Yeah, the stupid AMC commercial. Ridiculous. I'm glad we don't have AMC up here just so I don't have to see that.
You get used to it.
And like you said, you just do something else while
Yeah, I'm usually playing Marvel Snap or something.
All right, so Chris, let's talk about Ahsoka and Only Murders in the Building. We'll do it spoiler-free, I would think.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about Ahsoka first? That's what you got up there, I think. So.
Hold on, I think we have a request here. No Blue Beetle talk.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, Emmet hasn't seen it. My quick blurbs about it would be much better than I expected. I love the main actor. I think you pronounce it Zolo. Mm-hmm. I thought he was fantastic, and actually, I can't wait to see him continue in the DCU. Which, who am I, right? But I really think he's great. I love this suit. I also really like the co-star he had, who played Jennifer Cord. Very cool. One of the highlights for me was all the Ted Cord stuff, because I think as a comic book reader, we see all these ridiculous costumes and concepts, and even we know this won't look right on film. This is going to look awful. But then they show some things, and it doesn't look awful. It looks comic booky and stuff, but it's fun. It's not like if my eyes are burning and you don't want it. So I thought that was cool. What I didn't like, and I didn't like this in the trailers either, the humor and the family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the humor did not hit for me. There was parts with the family I didn't like at all. I could have done without George Lopez completely. Like I would have preferred that be played by like Danny Trejo and let him just be Danny Trejo.
So a weird question: do you think the family and the humor of it has anything to do with the race? Is it that kind of humor? Like, is it
Um,
Hispanic? I have no idea. Hispanic
I
humor? I don't know.
from what I've seen and heard from Hispanic friends and stuff, it's I guess it's close. I'm not
Hmm.
really sure though.
Sure.
But I think it's just the way they're characterized. I didn't like they're in it a lot, and
Oh,
they're in
really?
pivotal
Hmm.
points that I don't think they needed to be there. Like
Hmm.
because the family as a concept was cool. I like that. And I like the
Hmm.
way they ground Jaime. That was nice.
Hmm.
But it's the way that the comedy around them is used,
Hmm.
and George Lopez is very loud
Hmm.
and like a I don't know like he's there for comic relief, and I
Right.
didn't need him. I liked what was going on other than him.
Hmm.
And then, of course, the villains are absolute jokes.
That's. Oh, I listened to V39, and they said I was surprised how much they were like. They didn't just say, "Oh, the villains just weren't for me." Like they went hard on the
Yeah,
villains,
no,
and like just
I
not
wouldn't
good.
I wouldn't go that hard on them, but I did agree
Mm.
with a lot of what they said. I will say though, I didn't think Susan Sarandon was as bad as people have been saying.
Mm.
I just think that she's there playing a certain kind of character. Not all of it makes sense.
Mm.
I agree they should have went with someone closer in age to Jennifer Cord,
Mm.
especially considering this is Ted Cord's sister. I actually thought it was his mother from trailers. That's not, and I don't mean to pick on Susan Sarandon. That's not what I mean. It just I thought that was his mother,
Mm.
and then when you watch it, no, it's the sister. Like, oh, okay. Well, how
Mm-hmm.
old is Ted? And why is Jenny Cord roughly 25,
Weird.
maybe 30? I don't know. But I like Blue Beetle a lot. I really do look forward to watching it again. But the family
Mm.
was not for me,
Mm-hmm.
and the humor mostly was not for me.
Fair.
Lauren says, me and my whole family enjoy Blue Beetle. Phil agrees with me. Phil actually just watched this about, what, an hour ago? I think he just got home. Lauren liked the family, but the humor was definitely a little here and there. Yes.
Mm.
It's funny. My parents said George Lopez made the movie for them. I'm apparently on my own island because I've seen a lot of people say that they love George Lopez's performance.
Mm.
But to me, I was like, can we get less of him? And when we carry over, leave him there.
Mm-hmm.
Leave him in the DCU. Grab says, I like the family when they were a family, not a superhero team. That.
Mm.
I think that covers it for me. Zay says, I'm tired of the older villains in DC movies, not just, but comic movies in general. I agree with that too. I don't understand what is with the older
I think
people.
they're trying to grab a general audience feel to it. Like I feel like Shazam 2 had Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu. Like my mom knows who Helen Mirren is. You know, my mom knows who Susan Sarandon is. Are they trying to get that crowd to
I think there's better ways to do it, like
Oh, I
making a good
agree
movie
with you,
first.
but I think that's what they're trying to, what DC was thinking at the time. The Hamadaverse was trying to say, oh, let's throw in some well-known names into these movies.
Yeah, and that could be what it is. And if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken, Susan Sarandon was not the first choice. It was a publicized first choice, and it was
Oh
not
yeah,
her.
I remember that. Yeah.
I don't remember who it was, though. I'll have to look that up later. Grabs does not have a problem with the villains, mostly the family nonsense. I feel like if you took away some of the family stuff, you could have pumped up the villains a little bit more, and that
Hmm.
would have worked. But is what it is. Okay, I'm out on that. So Grabs is with me on the island. I guess we're getting hot wings together on this island.
Oh boy.
Speaking of Helen Mirren, will she come back to the building? What building?
Helen Mirren, will she come back to the building?
Jennifer Lawrence was busy making a rom com, and a wonderful rom com it is. But I think that's about as much as I can say about Blue Beetle without spoiling it for Emmet.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, Everything good but family and villains.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, let's talk about Ahsoka. Chris, what'd you think about Ahsoka? And I'll preface both with us saying that we have basically no idea what happens in the Clone Wars, what happens in Rebels, what happens with anything other than Ahsoka from what we've seen in Mandalorian. Go.
I liked it. I thought that it was kind of some things were hard to follow, but it's not like it lingers too much on the stuff that I didn't know. But there's still. I'm actually going to go back and watch the last 3 episodes of Rebels, last 3 or 4, just because I want to understand what I'm watching better. But at the base of it, I get Ahsoka, I get who Sabine is. Hera, I think is her name.
She's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Is that her?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I forgot. I had forgotten her name. So
yeah, I think it's Hera. I like all 3 of them. I like where the story is going. Love Ray Stevenson as he's not a gray Jedi. I think he's not a Sith. I think he's just a rogue Jedi, maybe.
Yeah, in the middle.
Yeah, I like him. I like Shin a lot. I think the lightsaber fights have been immaculate. So I was talking about this with a friend the other day. We are to a point now where Star Wars has flavors. You have your standard Star Wars stuff, which is like Luke, the Skywalker things. You've got like bounty hunter stuff with Solo and the Mandalorian and Boba Fett. We have whatever the hell Andor is. Ahsoka to me feels more like Skywalker legacy stuff, which is Jedi, and that's the flavor of Star Wars I prefer. And I didn't know that until we've had these other things. This is the kind of stuff I like, so I'm just gravitating toward this.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I like the stuff of Order 66 where there's Jedi that got away, there's Jedi that turned. I love that aspect of it. Even just in I think it's in the first episode where they're trying to figure out who the 2 half Sith, half Jedi people are, and I forget what Ahsoka's droid's name is, V7 or doesn't matter. He's got like the lightsabers on the thing. He used to work at the Jedi Temple, and he's got the lightsabers like
Huyang or something.
What?
Huyang, I think is his name.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's talking about that he's only seen like so many lights. He's seen all these lightsabers in the last 5,000 years or whatever. He's like, oh man, I love the lore of lightsabers. Like, I want to hear more about lightsabers and how they're made and who they're for and all that kind of stuff. So I like that stuff. I like the lightsaber battles, like you were saying. Sabine is probably my favorite character in the first 2 episodes now. Yeah. She's really good.
I think she has the most personality.
Yeah, and yeah, she's got like attitude to her. She's got lots of different things. So, I had a good time with Ahsoka. And I don't know why it took me so long to watch it. Like, I guess it was only out last week. Felt like I should have watched it day 1, but it's just like, oh, another Star Wars show. Sure. Because I didn't watch Andor, or I watched a couple episodes of Andor. Didn't get around to it. But, the stuff that we saw from Ahsoka on Mando was interesting. We kind of get a sense of her story, and Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka has always looked very awesome. So yeah, I'm excited to watch some more. Clancy Brown in the first episode. It's always good to see Clancy Brown.
I don't know why, but I got excited seeing Clancy.
Yeah, it's great to see Clancy Brown. I'm interested if they do like the Mando thing where there's just a new character, a new actor in every episode. Like in that one episode of Mando, I'm thinking of Jack Black and Lizzo and Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, so like I was just wondering if they keep doing that. I kind of hope they don't, because I more and more of those moments where you get the Leo gift from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just takes me out of things now. I don't want to be focused on too much things other than what's happening with the story and the characters that we see on the screen all the time. But I think the music is also very good in Ahsoka.
Yeah, I like the music.
I think that's a big standout is the music.
I actually like the song that's playing when Sabine is on her speeder on what looks like a highway.
Oh, when she's leaving the city.
Yeah. I thought that was a really cool song. And that thing she does when she goes under the ship, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So I had a great time. It's very good. And it'll be interesting, like you said, Chris, if there's more story that we're missing, and if that even matters. Like you said, there's the Ezra stuff.
Yeah.
he's someone. He's a person.
I
Sure,
don't know.
I've heard that name
He's a
before, but
dude.
I
She's a
have
dude.
no
We're all
idea.
dudes.
Like, yeah, I have no idea. So it'll be interesting.
I have no idea. I think that I also didn't know Ahsoka was in Rebels or part of it, but I guess she is. I'm going to check out some Rebel stuff though because I'm curious. But I don't think they're gonna. I was talking on Twitter about this. I don't think they're gonna make us watch like 10 years worth of animation to understand this series. But it is weird that they expect us to have already watched it. It's kind of like if you were to give someone a current issue of X-Men of the Krakoa era and expect them to understand what just happened.
Sure.
Like, here's the Hellfire Gala. Tony Stark and Emma Frost are getting married. Enjoy. Like, okay. Let's get some of these comments. Eric loves the characters in Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Lauren says she likes Ahsoka too. Hera and Sabine have her heart as their characters. Yeah, they are pretty cool. Grabs fell asleep in episode 2, so I need to watch it again. You absolutely should. It's a good time. I think Zeddy's talking about a spoiler here I can't mention.
Skip.
Phil says this is going to sound strange to get all the Star Wars content in recent years, but Ahsoka felt the most like Star Wars. It has that X factor. I completely agree with that. That's the feeling I got from it too. As soon as I saw the crawl, I was like, we're back.
Yeah, and a different kind of crawl too. Like it wasn't centered; it was off to the left.
It reminded me of the trilogies. I was like, yes, we're here. Eric says Thrawn is coming. Ian's with us. Ahsoka was incredible, felt like pure Star Wars, but did need knowledge of Rebels and some Clone Wars to fully appreciate it. So many callbacks. Yeah, all I knew is the droid's named Chopper. That's all I knew.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Like in the first episode, Ahsoka mentions her training with her master Anakin. Like, there's people that wouldn't know that. Like, what? Anakin trained someone? Like
I've seen some of Clone Wars.
Yeah, like there's that obviously the time between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith where so much stuff happens, and that's where Ahsoka is. That's where Anakin has a Padawan, and if you don't know, like that's just kind of like a what did she say?
Like she wasn't even mentioned in the sequel trilogy, which was odd.
Nope.
Like you would have thought that maybe they would have said something, but no. Eric says it's a good story with Smart's fan service. Grabs asks, do you guys remember how hated Ahsoka was in the Clone War movie? Her build-up since has been nothing short of a miracle. I didn't know people hated Ahsoka.
No, I didn't know that either.
I have seen the movie, and she's not really as likable. But I didn't think much of it. I guess because
she's more of a kid too, right? And
she is. She grows up through the series.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool because cartoons stay the same age. Tommy Pickles is forever. I think he's like 8 months old.
Yeah, Bart Simpson's in the same Mrs. Krabappel's class for 25 years.
Right, kid's got a horrible future ahead of him. Phil says, ironic to give her character debuted around this time 15 years ago. Ian says, Rosario Dawson is my favorite Star Wars casting of all time. Ahsoka is a top 3 Star Wars character. I've been in love with Dawson since I was a teenager. Also love the new Sabine casting. I agree with that too. Rosario Dawson is a really good get for Star Wars.
100%.
I would say she's my top 3 character for me though, because I don't know her. Grabs likes the droid. Are you talking about? Is it Huyang or Chopper?
Which one's
like
Chopper?
Chopper is Hera's droid.
Oh, okay. Right.
That was the one that I think it was in episode 2. Was trying to find the tracker. Had a lot of personality. I like it. Zeddy says it's dope seeing a Prime Jedi at the forefront again. I think lightsaber duels with good and bad Jedi have been greatly missed. Absolutely.
Been saying that for a long time. More Jedi. More Jedi.
More Jedi. The more Jedi, the better.
Yep.
I think. Or even the bad Jedi, whatever these other guys are.
Any kind of person holding a lightsaber.
Right, just give me lightsabers. I don't even need force powers. Give me lightsabers.
Yeah.
Ian says the composer is the same guy who worked on Rebels and some Clone Wars. That's cool. When she was ditching her responsibilities as Grand Marshal of the parade.
Yes. She got no time for that.
No, she's busy doing stuff. I haven't watched Rebels and I pieced together what happened. I did too by the end of the second episode, but there's just some things I want to see if they covered. Mainly the battle they talk about. Because I don't know what they're talking about. Ahsoka was so annoying at the start of Clone Wars. Her character development is one of Star Wars' best for sure.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, he does not mean Chopper, but Chopper is cool.
Fair enough. Yeah, so that's kind of our thoughts on Ahsoka. We'll be coming back to this one again for sure. I'll make sure to watch it day of next time, I think, just to keep up on it. I really want to keep up on it.
I think I watched it at 2 a.m. and then I was too tired, so I watched the next one next day. I was excited.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of didn't want to rewatch the episodes. I really liked them. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't feel like they dragged on at any point.
No, they have a lot of action in them.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is just really well layered too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no wasted moments, I think.
I would agree.
And it's Star Wars.
And it's good Star Wars. Okay, so let's talk about only murders in the building then.
Yes.
Very non-spoilery talk. I'm caught up on all 4 episodes. Chris, are you all caught up on all 4 episodes?
4?
4
Yes.
was the White Room one.
Yes. Okay. I'm all caught up.
So yeah, we're at a 3rd season, another death, new characters. What are your thoughts about Only Murders in the Building so far?
It's different. It feels different. Not in a bad way, but I suppose, and you and I talked about this before, I think that they couldn't keep replicating the same dynamic and same story, so they had to do something different this season. We knew that at the end of the 2nd season. We saw it. Like, okay, they've got to do something different. But what I've noticed is it feels like the 3 of them aren't together as much so far. And the 3 of them have more in their life. It feels like they're just doing other things instead of focusing on the one thing like they did before.
Yeah, it barely feels like they're solving the case.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't feel as focused on the murder aspect. It's more about who they are and what they're doing, which is cool. It's different. I don't mind it. But it's just coming out the other 2 seasons, it's kind of like a culture shock. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's pretty funny still. I really like the use of the new characters. Like what we've seen of Paul Rudd, what we have seen of Meryl Streep, who I'm pretty sure is going to steal the series.
It's so interesting. You're talking about usage. Like, I think in episode 4 there was no Paul Rudd, and then in episode 3 there was no Meryl Streep, or I can't remember which one.
I don't.
There was one where there wasn't.
Together.
Yeah, I can't remember anyway. So yeah, it felt like Meryl Streep was going to be like all over the season. She was just going to be everywhere and in your face. And same thing with Paul Rudd. That's interesting how they're doing that. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because I would agree that the usage of the characters, when you have such, you adding, bigger characters, more characters, it can be pretty tricky. But I do think that they're managing it pretty well, and I think that's how they're deceiving us with their tells about who they're trying to tell us who the killer is, and dropping hints here and there. It's just there's a little bit too much going on, or not too much, but there's a lot going on with the characters.
It feels like a bigger mystery this time around.
Sure.
And I don't think we got the sense in the other 2 seasons that there could be maybe more than one killer, or there was always, okay, well, it's got to be this person. It's in this one. I don't think we have that yet.
Do you have someone you think it is?
No. No, when she was cast, I said, "Oh, it's probably Meryl Streep."
Well, and they teased that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, "Oh, it's got to be her," but I don't think it. I don't know. That's just when she was cast. Like, it has to be. It's Meryl Streep.
Well, I thought that was Amy Schumer. I thought, well, it's got to be Amy Schumer.
Right. We thought it was Amy Schumer,
and she was in one episode.
Yes. I don't even remember what her purpose was.
No, to have a room that now Meryl lives in.
They keep using that one apartment.
Yeah, that's right. Something going on in that apartment.
Yeah, the Arconia is apparently a very popular celebrity spot.
Yeah.
Eric says Mabel seems like the only one who wants to solve the case. That's kind of the impression I'm getting too.
Well, yeah,
Grab says
going on with his girlfriend, and Oliver's got the stuff going on with the play, and Mabel's losing her apartment. Which she doesn't have much to do, right?
The play it looks and sounds absolutely ridiculous. Grab says, I love the way the characters interact with each other. It somehow feels different than every other show. It's so good. That, I think, is what made the first 2 seasons work so well, and why this one is feeling different, because you're not getting them as much. I don't know. Not a bad thing, though. Eric confused Helen Mirren. I I can see that though.
Understandable.
Yeah. Between this and Knives Out, it's nice to see mystery fiction again that isn't police centric for a change. Eric also kind of wants a Mabel spinoff. I kind of want an Oliver spinoff. But I love Martin Short. So.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I watched the fourth episode last night. I'm sorry to say that I'm getting a bit bored with the show. Are you feeling any of that?
I was feeling that the first 3 episodes were more or less the same kind of show. But then that 4th episode really changes it up for me. For the Charles aspect of it with this white room, I thought was a really interesting way of going about things.
Mm-hmm.
And then how the episode ends, I didn't actually like how the episode ended as much because of what they're teasing us with, which is something we obviously already saw in season number 1. But I like that white room aspect of it, and I like the musical of it. I like that musical twist on things, the play. So I'm not bored of it yet, but I could see how that was happening for me if the white room hadn't happened and it was more or less kind of the same than the previous 3. That could have happened to me too. I just think the white room was a little bit of a switch.
It was, but for me. I kind of agree with Phil saying that too. That he hasn't really gotten to the season. The 4th episode, it did feel like it was kind of lingering in a way. Like I was still entertained by it, but I was also like, somebody was murdered.
Sure.
Where is the mystery?
Well, and they're gonna have to do something, like you're saying. They can't have 3 seasons of the same thing,
right?
And that's what I thought we were getting with the end of season 2. Like, oh, this feels a little bit different. But then they switched it. They made it murders in the building instead of murders at a theater house.
Also, we were talking last season how it was. We didn't know if this was going to come together because we were kind of like, this isn't working. And then it completely comes together.
It completely worked. Yeah, right. And that's the thing.
Like, I won't said, by episode 8, you'll be back in. Yeah. That's why I feel like I can't complain about the show. Because in the past experience with they know what they're doing, they're reeling us in with something, we're just not seeing it.
Yeah, well, and that's it. Eventually this will be Steve Martin doing one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV, talking about tomatoes in slow motion.
Yes,
that's some of the funniest moments of TV I've ever seen. So I won't doubt it yet, but I could get that sense now, and maybe that's the point. They're kind of just reeling us along, and then they'll slap us in the face with something, which is to totally happen, or it could not. But yeah, we'll see.
Charles sees a white room, wants to paint it black. If they use that song on the show, I think I'd lose it. It'd be amazing to me. One of the best songs ever created. Ian is agreeing with Phil again. I'm not feeling it. I can see it becoming something that'll end up for background noise. That's harsh.
Stab him in the back.
Phil says, I know, perhaps it'll gel together, but I have my doubts. Yeah, I don't think... I just think that they haven't steered us wrong yet. And there was a point last season where I was kind of feeling the same, like, hey, what's going on here? But like I said, they fixed it. It's kind of like that scene in Dumb and Dumber. Just when I thought you couldn't do anything dumber, you totally redeem yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not in the camp where even if I wasn't liking it, that I wouldn't expect that they could bring me back, because the first 2 seasons are just too good.
Right. It'll come back just fine. Grab says there's a chance every show falls apart at some point, but up to this point, the show has proven to me it's a creative juggernaut. I'm there to the end.
I would agree.
Yeah, I am there. At least just to see I want to see the play.
I hope so. I hope we get it.
I hope we see some of it at least.
Yeah.
It sounds so stupid.
Yeah. But then also very serious as well, like the Meryl Streep moment where she does her singing with the babies. Like, oh my God, this is perfection.
I got to see what this thing is.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they have some of it filmed, or they film some. I don't know. I got to see it. It's kind of like the Rogers musical. It started out as a joke. Now it's a thing at Disneyland.
Think this is funny, huh?
Yeah. Check this out.
Yeah, check this out. All right, so that's our thoughts on Only Murders in the Building. Episodes come out on Tuesday, right, Chris?
Yeah. Well, actually, they hit Monday night at 11 p.m.
Okay. Tuesday.
Well, sure.
I was unaware of when it was coming out because I watched the first
Were
2 dropped at once?
I think so. I think it was 2.
I couldn't remember because I watched 2 at
3?
once and I watched 3 and 4. I think it was only 2 because then I watched the 3rd one and then the 4th one.
I kind of took my time to watch this one. I don't know.
Mm.
But yeah, they do drop earlier on Monday, but Tuesdays when most people will be watching them.
Cool. I will be sure to watch this week. First 2 at once. Perfect. All right. You still got that saved in there, right?
I got that one. I got this one.
Was it raining? Was it raining, Chris? Was there mud on your boots?
I don't know if there was. I can't remember. I do remember the Twig Evolution, though.
Yeah, still waiting on that sequel. Come on, Scotty in.
I'm waiting. Oh, Grabs confirmed it was 2 at once. That was 3 for some reason.
All right, Chris. Anything else you want to talk about before we get on out of here?
No. What we do in the Shadows finale this week.
Jeez, that was quick.
Well, yeah, they're doing the 2 final episodes in one night, which is weird.
Ooh.
So if you have not seen the show, I know I keep mentioning it. This is a good time to jump on because it's almost over.
Chris wants someone to talk about this with. Someone watch it, please.
Please. It's funny, I promise. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else this week that I'm looking forward to. So.
Cool.
Except the usuals. More Ahsoka, more Where's the Villain.
Fair enough. All right, hit us up with some plugs.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70. You guys can also follow the show I do with my buddies Anthony Crusoe and Phil Walsh at DC Unlimited Pod.
Breathe, Chris. Breathe.
I'm having a memory issue tonight. I think I need some kind of memory pill. I don't know. You guys follow that on Twitter at DC Unlimited Pod. And as always, I'd love it if you'd follow this show at G of the Geeks on Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Gathering of the Geeks. And you will find us there. I want to say thanks to Zeddy, Phil, Eric, Ian, Grabs, Andrew, Lauren. Frank was in there for a hot second. Aaron and Chris from Lost in Comics. Just thanks for hanging out, guys, as always. And in saying all that, for Chris and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a great week, guys. Wrong one.